Skyrim modding is still growing and it's only getting bigger and better. The game is almost 14 years old and the amount of mods released per year keeps increasing. Seriously, just look at this graph here. So here you can see the graph of new mods that have come out for Skyrim Special Edition for the entire duration of the existence of the game, which is since 2016 until now, which is June 2025. And every single year it just keeps growing, which is just crazy to me considering the game is like 14 years old now. But now let's take a look at some of the best mods that have come out so far in 2025. One of my favorite mods released this year is Riverwood Has Walls. The mod is split into two parts. The first part is a complete overhaul of Riverwood, making it look more beautiful, and the second part is a dynamic system responsible for building fortifications for the village, like walls and watchtowers. After the Yell of Whiterun sends guards to Riverwood, the first stage of building starts and fortifications will be progressively built, lasting for 4 stages. At the final stage the building is finished and Riverwood is fully fortified. Since we can now fortify Riverwood, let's also improve Whiterun's defenses. Whiterun's walls are old and broken in vanilla, but with the restored Whiterun defenses mod they will now be fixed, making Whiterun safe again. Next is a full overhaul of Ravenrock made by JK, who is well known for his city and town overhauls that he's been making for over a decade now. Another mod for fixing towns that has come out this year is Simple Winterhold Rebuild, which simply restores the destroyed buildings in Winterhold, adding a Temple of Julianus and some stores. Another place we can overhaul is the Solitude Docks, with the mod Complete Solitude Docks and Exterior, which will make the docks grander and more fitting for the capital of Skyrim. It also changes the lumber mill and Cattle's farm. Next are some overhauls for Hagraven camps, and the first here is Occult Orphan Rock, which gives it a horror theme and makes it creepier. Next is Occult Witchmist Grove, which will now become a lot more interesting and sinister, and the Occult Cradlestone Tower. This boring old tower is now completely reimagined with custom assets, which will make the place look truly unique. The last location overhaul on this list is Druadak Redoubt Overhaul, making it a functional home for the player if they decide to join Medanak. This place isn't very useful in vanilla, but will now have merchants and crafting stations added. Now let's take a look at a couple of new magic mods. One of them is Elemental Mastery Magic, which adds 4 new destruction spells that look simply stunning and are very powerful. These are expert spells and you can obtain the spell tome for them from vendors, and they will be assigned to high level mage NPCs if you have SPID as well. The other magic mod is Immersive Illusion Spells by J Serpa, which adds a bunch of new spells ranging from basic distraction spells and debuffs to spells such as Mind Control, which lets you take over an NPC, Masquerade, allowing you to steal an NPC's face, and Delirium, which compels your enemies to dance for 30 seconds. Another cool spell is Blink, which lets you travel a short distance and is inspired by the same spell from the game Dishonored. There are also some cool new UI mods. One of them is Quest Journal Overhaul, which completely revamps the quest journal with a visual redesign, categorization, ability to hide completed quests and more. There is also the Twin Menu Overhaul, which overhauls the Twin Menu, making it look more attractive and more convenient to use, and adds the ability to add shortcuts to other game menus from the Twin menu. Another UI mod is Predictable Persuasion, which lets you see whether your persuasion, intimidation or bribe attempts will fail or succeed, the required speech level for success, and you can also see the NPC's response beforehand. There are also some great innovations in the lighting department. First, there are a couple of new additions for community shaders, which I might show you in a later video. Second is the mod Dynamic Interior Ambient Lighting, or DIAL, which will now adjust interior ambient lighting based on the time of day. This mod is also compatible with all lighting overhauls, ENB and community shaders. Now let's take a look at some quest mods. One of the coolest mods that came out this year is Balmerion, which adds a whole new questline where you help the Order of the Ashen Veil to reclaim their fortress of Balmerion from the extremist vigilant order called the Stendar's Hammer. Or you could decide to kill the survivors of the Order of the Ashen Veil and claim your bounty from Stendar's Hammer. In this 10 to 15 hour long questline you will be able to live in Balmerion, and if you help the Order of the Ashen Veil you will also get 6 custom voice followers with their own side quests and more. Another new quest mod is Sleepwalking into a Nightmare, where you have to find a missing woman and you get to enter her nightmares to help her overcome her fears. It's a very atmospheric mod and it also has multiple endings with different rewards. The third new quest mod is Miasma, which takes place in Solstheim and has you helping an Argonian in tracking down a rogue Tilvani wizard. The quest is lore friendly and features new locations in a large Nordic ruin, new equipment and interesting new spells and more. There is also a huge update to an existing quest mod, which is the Grey Cowl of Nocturnal, an iconic quest mod where you go to the Alikir Desert in search of the Grey Cowl. This year is the 10th anniversary of the mod and its author has released a special updated version. There's a ton of changes such as new content, reworks, added details and bug fixes and more. Whether you played the original mod or not, you must try this new version of it. Another huge update is for the mod Death Consumes All, which is a 30-hour long DLC-sized questline that adds a deadly new plague where NPCs can actually infect each other, get sick and die, and you have to stop the plague. It also has you fighting literal hordes of enemies in epic battles, adds a very complex follower, and a ton of quests and things to do. The last huge update that came out this year is for the iconic Become High King of Skyrim mod that has you becoming the ruler of Skyrim, getting your own castle and performing your duties as High King. The mod has now been fully revamped and expanded, so if you've ever played the original, you should definitely give it another go. Of course, there's also a bunch of new creature mods that came out this year. First, we have a big update to Monster mod. This was the original creature pack that everybody used way back in the day when there were no other similar mods. It has since been maintained by a different author and has now received a large update to make it compatible with the Anniversary Edition creations, fix bugs and improve stability. The mod itself as it is now is implemented in a very clean way with Skypatcher, so you can safely install it and there's no need to worry about instability or crashes or script lag or anything like that. A modder named Chakra has been releasing some very interesting new creatures this year. Some examples of his mods are the Leshens that you can find in woodlands areas, the Drowners whom are fish-man hybrids that can be found on the coastlines, the Sirens that you can also find on the coastlines, Swamp Skeletons that are found in mortal swamps, and you should also check out the Mythical Giants replacer that makes vanilla giants look so much more interesting. Of course, there are also a ton of new mods by Michael. Some examples are the Ascended Servitors, whom are fanatical servants of Meridia, the Ice Turmoil, which is a new form of the Frost Atronach, giant bats and rats that can be found in Skyrim's darker places, Igni the Fire Atronach cat, which can be your pet, and several more. I suggest you check out Michael's profile page, as he has so many mods released this year and in the previous years. There are also some cool new armor and clothing mods. My favorite mod in this category is Yoku Armory, which adds Redguard themed items to the game. It adds several armor sets and several weapons, all of which are really high quality. It also adds jar bombs, adds a new mini-boss, and a summonable giant skeleton. Another cool and really unique mod is Shas Chains and Silks. This adds physics-enabled, Middle Eastern-themed body silks, veils, skirts and bracelets, and if you're into skimpy clothing then surely you will enjoy this mod. If you also want skimpy armor, there's also Obi's Druchi armor, which adds one set of physics-enabled armor for female characters. Another armor for female characters is the Grievous Rose, which suits vampire-type characters the most and is a light armor and a clothing set. If you want something more practical and lore-friendly, you should download the Steel Vanguard armor, which adds a standalone set of armor with the same stats and recipes as Ebony armor and also a greatsword. For a more fantasy-style armor you can use the Frost Druid armor, which was ported from Diablo 4 and suits Druid or Shaman-type characters. Lastly, we have the Dark Crusader Armory. This adds a Crusader or Paladin themed heavy armor set, and it also adds many new weapons and shields, 129 in total, with different weapon types and stats. Now let's take a look at mods for NPCs and followers. First we have 3 new follower dialogue expansions. These are dialogue expansions for vanilla followers, adding more things to talk about and more interactions. The first dialogue expansion in 2025 is for Arania Ianith, the priestess at the Shrine of Azura. The second one is for Raya the Falkreath Housecarl, and the third one is for Sapphire from the Thieves Guild. Probably the most interesting follower mod that has come out this year so far is the Iceheart Sisters mod. This mod adds 2 Nordic sisters and a new location, the Iceheart Mill. The 2 sisters can become your followers, they're fully voiced by real voice actresses, they have romance options, and there is an add-on you can use to make vanilla NPCs be able to talk to them as well. Another mod that is related to followers is Skyrim Outfit Equipment System, which is an outfit management mod for followers. It allows you to set follower outfits and they can automatically change them based on combat and location. Outfit management was always a huge problem in this game, and many mods have tried to solve it, but I think this one has the best implementation and is the most expanded of all of them. Next we have some NPC replacers. First we have replacers made by Circuit Hedit, who has released 4 new NPC replacers this year, and my favorite has to be the Argus replacer, whom is the Housecarl in Markarth. Circuit Hedit's NPC replacers are truly the highest quality replacers I've ever seen, and also they're very lore friendly, which I know many of you guys like. We also have the Pandorable Nameless Vampires replacer, which overhauls the random nameless vampires in vanilla Skyrim. I absolutely love Pandorable's work, so this is an instant download for me. The last NPC related mod here is Skyrim Vocal Diversity, which adds 9 new voice types generated by AI and uses them as alternative voice types for certain vanilla NPCs. So for example, some NPCs that have the male brute voice type will now have an alternative similar voice. As of right now, the mod only affects male NPCs though. My number one favorite mod to have come out this year is Sanguine Symphony, which makes the combat so much more fun by overhauling the audio and visual aspects of impacts. The sounds and visuals of impacts now depend on your equipped weapon, your enemy's equipped armor, their remaining health, hit location and other factors. It also completely overhauls the blood and bleeding system, changing the blood splatter mechanics and blood puddles, along with other really cool features. If I could only use one mod from this video, I would definitely use this one. The last interesting mod that have come out this year is Animated Interactions, which adds animations to different types of interactions in third person, such as looting, opening doors, picking up items, etc. Personally, this type of mod is not for me, but it does add immersion, and I know that a lot of you guys would enjoy it. Well, that's the end of the video. This was a really long list and I hope you found something you like here. There's a ton of mods I didn't cover because the video would then be much longer, but if you know of any more cool mods that have come out this year, feel free to post them in the comments.